I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Rosa. I'm Russ Laguerre, your assistant minister, and thank you to our band. This Memorial Day weekend, we take a few moments to reflect together, both on the start of summer, as this holiday has come to represent for many, and its deeper meaning. Memorial Day, originally known as Decoration Day, began as a way to honor those who died during the Civil War. Over time, it grew to include all who gave their lives in military service. The origins are shared across several cities and traditions, but the intention has always been clear: to remember, to reflect, and to honor. Memorial Day invites us to ask, what in my life is so important that I would stand for it, even when it's difficult? What do I treasure that isn't stored in a bank or buried in the ground, but lives in the heart, in character, in purpose? Today, as we remember those who are no longer with us on the battlefield or in everyday acts of service, we're invited to honor the legacy they left behind by remembering their names and by carrying forward their spirit, their kindness, their courage, their commitment to something beyond themselves. So as we move through this weekend, I invite you to pause and remember those who have made a difference in your life. Decorate your heart with their memory. And if it feels right, let their example inspire the values that you carry forward. Having the support of community during life's challenges can turn unexpected hardships into meaningful memories of the power and presence that's available when we have a little help from our friends. One of the messages that I'm grateful to hear so often here at the center is that I don't have to go it alone. And this reminds me of a Talmudic proverb: grief shared is halved, joy shared is doubled. So whether you're in the room or on YouTube, you are welcome here, where we aspire to build spiritual friendship by honoring equity, diversity, and inclusion. Now I invite you to please join me in speaking out loud our mission. Yeah, you knew that was coming, right? The Center for Spiritual Living is a spiritual community that promotes global transformation through personal transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. We are motivated by a compelling global vision that inspires us to bring the gifts of compassion, integrity, and loving kindness to the world through our programs and teaching. Together, we are helping create a world that works for everyone. Good job. At the center, we practice the truth that Spirit expresses through all people, through shared prayer, shared meals, shared tears, and shared laughter. And when we show up for each other, we become living expressions of the divine. And we use 5 spiritual practices to help us express that divinity throughout our lives. Would you please read those out loud with me? Spiritual study, affirmative prayer, meditation, selfless service, spiritual circulation. We use flowers to send messages of love to one another. And our beautiful flowers, all of these flowers on our stage today, they're all from the Bastion Family Memorial for their daughter Molly, who loved the center very much. So thank you for sharing these flowers with us as a way of celebrating Molly's life. We would now like to extend a warm welcome to our first-time visitors. If you're a first-time visitor, would you please stand as you're able or raise your hand, and we'd like to bring you a flower and a welcome packet as a token of our gratitude for you joining us today. We have another welcome to share with you, by the way, and this is for our 9 new members who joined us in our last new member orientation. And their names are on the screen, and I just want to say a welcome to Elena Mitchell, Carl Hilton, Carol Goyen, Denise Poole, Flora Moore. I'm gonna skip trying to. I don't want to say that last name wrong. Kristen Bucky. Lee Brochat, Richard Murphy, and Sky Freeman. So welcome to all of our new members. Thank you for joining our family. Now I know that somewhere in the music, the meditation, the prayer, the practices, and Dr. Edwards' message today is something for you, something for the next step of your spiritual journey. Please know you are welcome here. Now I invite you to sit back and relax and enjoy some music before a short time of silent contemplation and prayer.
As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me, my heart is open, I am free. I open to all that is, it brings me to my knees. I surrender, I am peace. As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me, my heart is open, I am free. I open to all that is, it brings me to my knees. I surrender. I am peace. I surrender. I am peace. I surrender. I am peace.
Surrendering in this moment to that sweet presence of life right here. Breathing every breath, holding every expression. It is that one. God, Spirit, the divine, named or unnamed, it simply is in its wholeness, in its fullness, ever present. And it is that one that is the life of my life, in, through, and as all that I am. In my inner stillness, in every expression, it is all that I am. And so I know this as the truth of each one here, each one hearing this word. With all of life, this one is unfolding. Anew in this moment, in this service, it is that expresses through each one in our uniqueness and together as community. And so I know that we are held in that tender embrace, that we are unfolding through that is the very light, the love, the joy of all of creation. And recognizing this in sweet gratitude, I simply let go. I let this be, and so it is. Amen. Good morning. I'm Ruth Barnhart, a minister here at the center. Please join with me in reading this morning's affirmation. I am an expression of Spirit's joy, and so it is.
He was there one Sunday morning at the corner of a square, in a freshly pressed tuxedo, in a simple folding chair. Just after curfew lifted, when everything was still, he played his cello in the morning chill. In the streets of Sarajevo, a place of flame and death, this music so surprising that the whole world held its breath. And each morning he'd return to that spot and he would play in the streets of Sarajevo every day. And every day made me wonder, how did he ever find the music midst the madness and the courage to be kind? The long forgotten beauty we thought was blown away in the streets of Sarajevo every day. day, the soldiers asked him who he was, and they warned him of the dangers in doing what he does. Many said that he was crazy to risk his life this way in the streets of Sarajevo every day. And I wish someone could tell me who is crazy, who is sane, those who stand in protest, or those who drop these bombs like rain, those who fill our lives with death in this place where children play, in the streets of Sarajevo every day. So I come here in defiance, and to add a bit of grace, try to ease the awful hatred and the horror of this place, to remember there is beauty, no matter what they say, in the streets of Sarajevo every day. Every day I see them, those who will not stand aside, who refuse to be defeated, who rage against the tide. They are a glimmer in the darkness, the rolling of a stone, a message in a bottle from the distant shores of home. And every day he made me wonder, where did he ever find the music midst the madness and the courage to be kind, the long-forgotten beauty we thought was blown away in the streets of Sarajevo, Belfast and Riyadh, in the streets of New York City, and Bali and Baghdad, in the streets of every city every day.
Vedran Smailovic, born in 1956, was a cellist with the Sarajevo Opera and other ensembles. During the siege in the early 1990s, he became internationally recognized for his courageous act of playing Albinoni's Adagio in G minor amidst the ruins of Sarajevo. For 22 consecutive days, he performed at the site where a mortar shell had killed 22 civilians, waiting in line for bread, honoring each victim with a day of music. Often dressed in formal attire, concert attire, his performances amidst the devastation became a powerful symbol of resistance and hope. Some voices change the world not because they are loud or boisterous, but because they are authentic and courageous. And today I want to talk about the courage that it takes to express courageously and powerfully while staying in contact and true to your spiritual self. This month we've been exploring the spiritual skills that allow us to do exactly that. We started with week 1, the art of self-advocacy, learning how to speak up for ourselves. Second week, Reverend Russ talked about the art of healthy boundaries, learning how to honor ourselves and others with clear and loving communication. Last week, we arrived at the art of reconciliation, which was the skill of restoring and repairing relationships and friendships by acknowledging harm and attempting repair. And that brings us to this week's topic, the art of self-expression. And it's based on these three ideas. One we heard in the prayer: you are a unique expression of the creative power of life itself. The second is that personal, internal, and social, external pressure sometimes gets in the way of us expressing that. The third is, without the expression of yourself, the world is a poorer place. So pay attention and find ways to express who you are. So let's begin with the message from Jesus of Nazareth in his, famous message known as the Sermon on the Mount that he gave to his followers, in which he spoke about the importance and the power of being peacemakers, where he talked about the importance of staying hungry for justice and integrity. That's not all he talked about. He also spoke about the importance of expressing your unique and authentic self. He said, you are the salt of the earth. And then he said, but if you've lost your flavor, the flavor that makes you who you are, then you are like salt that doesn't have its saltiness anymore. And that is useless and ought to be thrown away. To drive the point home, he said, you are the light of the world and you ought not to hide that light. He also said that we are to shine the light that is within us in a very particular way, in a way that honors what we are made from. Shine your light in such a way that it blesses the world and does not harm it in the way that too much salt would harm. So his instruction to shine, it didn't mean get out of control, or be chaotic, or be selfish, or just do whatever the heaven you want. He said, shine in such a way that it glorifies the creative life that lives within you. So in our tradition, that means the living spirit within. It means to tune into that living spirit within using the practices we just read: affirmative prayer, contemplation, selfless service, spiritual study, appreciation, all of those things, and then live from that, show up in the world from that. Now, from my experience, when I take the time to do that, tuning in through spiritual practice, tune into the living spirit within, the self within, and then express from that, what comes out is caring and creative and curious. When I tune into the self within and express from that, it can't come out as controlling or manipulative or combative. It's not consistent with the nature of the living spirit within. The living spirit within doesn't tear down, it builds up. And through each one of us, it has a unique expression that the world is hungry for. Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, he said, when I say it's you I like, I'm talking about that part of you that knows that life is far more than anything you can ever see, hear, or touch. That deep part of you that allows you to stand for those things without which humankind cannot survive. In other words, your love, your empathy, your peace-loving heart, your hunger for justice, everything that comes from the living spirit within. And today I want to explore what is it that stops us from giving expression to that? What is stopping us from being all that the living spirit within us is? What is stopping us from being the incredible, unique light that we are? And importantly, what does the world miss out on when we don't shine? Jackie Robinson's entry into Major League Baseball was a powerful example of self-expression under pressure. In the 1940s, organized baseball apparently had been racially segregated for years. And when he signed a contract to play, what he was doing was breaking the color barrier in professional baseball, which not only made him an icon for those who were standing for racial equality, but it also put a target on his back for those who fought against it. And his poise and strength on and off the field is why he is still honored today. Now, I think it might be easy to overlook the self-restraint and the inner discipline he must have had to practice daily being present to what lives inside of him in the face of racism and insults and threats. So much so that he needed a 2-person police guard every time he left the ballpark. And some teams, they threatened to strike rather than play against him. And when his team visited Philadelphia, he had to be housed separately from the team for his safety. 69 years later, the city of Philadelphia finally apologized to him for its racist treatment of him, and the Philadelphia City Council passed a resolution naming April 15th as a day to honor him and apologize for his mistreatment when the Dodgers visited that city. So his presence on the field is an example of quiet but thunderous self-expression that to me says, I'm here, I belong, I matter, I will show up. There is a light in me and it must come out. And the world would have been poorer without his self-expression. I'm not sure how well I would have stood up to that kind of negativity. I don't know if I could have taken that and remained poised. One of the helpful awarenesses I gained in a workshop about self-esteem was that I can sometimes spend too much time thinking about what other people think about me. And when I am overly interested in other people's opinion about me, I turn it into a kind of prison, like a box, a mental box that keeps my self-expression dampened. And in that workshop, that was when I realized I could do better, a better job of focusing on what I think about me. And so I learned to say such things in our tradition as, I am a radiant expression of the creative power of life. My presence brings flavor and light to the world. And I am letting the light that is within me shine in ways that bless and uplift the world. I show up in the world with authenticity and reverence. And I trust my true self to be its kind-hearted, curious self. And in this way, I started to look within and I began to ask, who would I be in this world if I were free of that obsession with other people's opinions? That's such a powerful inquiry. It's liberating to ask. If I were free from the obsession with other people's opinions, how would I express myself? Now, what other people think about you and me, sometimes it has value, truly, and can be considered, but in the long run, we have to live our own lives, and we have to express our own passions, like Fred Rogers did. Mr. Rogers originally, I read, planned to attend seminary and become a minister. But he felt a strong inner calling to enter the world of television. And at that time, his peers, his colleagues felt that television was too trivial, superficial. And they questioned his choice and wondered if television would be a meaningful platform for his ministry. But Mr. Rogers knew that he was called to something non-conventional that fit him. He was called to express his authentic self and his values through a children's program on television, and his unique approach became a ministry of loving kindness and understanding that influenced generations. And when he was asked about his calling, Fred Rogers said, "The greatest gift you ever give is your honest self." And his words inspire me to try to choose authenticity over approval. And they also remind me that self-expression is not the same as mimicking somebody else, copying somebody else. It isn't performance. It doesn't seek applause. It doesn't need validation because it comes from somewhere deeper within. It comes from a place within that is confident already, calm already. And so that place doesn't need to be liked or validated even. And in some cases, that's very important because the world may not know how to like or validate our self-expression yet. Temple Grandin's story is an example of someone who expressed herself in a world that didn't quite know how to receive her. And she ended up shaping the world through her life. She was diagnosed with autism as a child and didn't speak really until age 4. And there was, some serious doubt about whether or not she would ever have the capacity to learn anything. But her mother refused to accept that as a diagnosis, and she took her to a neurologist who recommended that she get speech therapy. And she did, and in time, Grandin's speech developed, and she forged her path forward, including a trip to her aunt who had a farm, and that visit opened up her whole world. She went on to become one of the world's leading experts in animal sciences and the humane treatment of livestock. And her unique way of seeing the world, well, it wasn't such a limitation, it was a gift. She used her difference as a lens through which to educate and advocate and innovate. And she once said, "The world needs all kinds of minds. You are a unique and essential part of life." Now, to be fair, there is a tremendous pressure from society to fit in. Spiritually speaking, though, if we examine that, no one can fit in. That's why I love our teaching so much, because we are taught in Science of Mind. We learn to think of ourselves as unique expressions of the living Spirit, never duplicated, never done before. Nothing like you has ever existed before and never will. Before I studied Science of Mind, well, I had a sense, a heaviness, a feeling that I didn't fit in. I didn't know yet that that was okay. I didn't know yet that nobody else did. See, I thought that there was something wrong with me. Maybe you felt that too. I used to feel embarrassed that I wasn't interested in what most of society seemed to be interested in. But in Science of Mind, I learned to value that, to appreciate my differences. I learned to say to myself such things as, the opinions of others no longer can confine me. I release the habit of seeking approval and I choose self-trust instead. I step out of the box of conformity with ease. I gently dissolve the limiting beliefs I have carried from the past by tuning into the spirit within on a regular basis. And if I should encounter the pressure to fit in, I know to breathe and return to my center. Let me tell you the story of Richard Branson again, because I like to tell it. He turned his imperfections into strengths. He embraced his vulnerabilities and grew despite them. I didn't know that he had severe dyslexia when I first started reading about him, so severe that it affected his ability to read and to write and to spell, so much so that when he was in school, he just couldn't keep up. Traditional schooling just didn't work for him. He often felt lost and disconnected, and by the age of 15, he decided to drop out of school. And he wrote in one of his writings, on one of my last days at school, the headmaster said I would either end up in prison or become a millionaire. That was quite a startling prediction, but in some respects he was right on both counts. He did end up spending a life-changing night in prison. I don't know what for, but anyway. But in addition to that, he did very well by founding the Virgin brand and grew it. And instead of trying to hide or to fit in because of his challenge, he took his dyslexia and he put it right on the table and he worked around it by hiring people to read to him what he struggled to read for himself. And an interesting point was that when someone would read Virgin's proposed new marketing material to him, he would listen and only keep that which he understood quickly and easily, which ended up producing a material that was sharp and crisp and clear and memorable. So it turns out that his problem was really a terrific strength. And I like to internalize that. How can a person practice that? How can we practice accepting our so-called imperfections or perceived weaknesses? And one way that I try to do it is I identify something that I've told myself is a weakness or a fault that I believe I have, and I ask myself, how is this also a strength? For example, I can become paralyzed by shyness. So I've asked myself, how is this also a strength? Well, it's turned me into a really good listener, an observer. I notice things, and I can connect with timid people. And frankly, it makes me quirky and weird. And now I know that's perfectly fine. I also know that sometimes I can get too comfortable in my quirkiness, in my quietness. And I know that self-expression requires getting out of the comfort zone now and then, because I love the safety of my comfort zone. But if I look at it closely, sometimes I stay in my comfort zone to avoid the discomfort of growth and connection. I have been a wait-and-see kind of person. You jump in first. Tell me how the water is. Then I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. My partner, he's a jump-in-now kind of person. And then he decides if he likes it. So I'm learning from him to jump sometimes. But I'm seeing the value of stepping up to the familiar, taking risks and saying yes to new experiences, listening to the beating of my heart and the rush of my blood. And I've been learning to say to myself, small acts of authenticity nourish my spirit. I am willing to listen to the quiet inner voice of spirit within and respond to it with courage and willingness. I know how to express myself in ways that are honest and thoughtful and true. I've had to continue to learn to be me and to express myself in small steps, stepping up to the things I fear and do them. Look, if I waited to be fearless, I would never have done my first Sunday service message, or the second, or the third, or 30 years worth. James Baldwin once said, "You have to go the way your blood beats." He, as a black gay man in mid-20th century, he risked everything by writing and speaking openly about race and sexuality and identity at a time when doing so, it could mean being canceled or worse. And he expressed himself clearly and bravely through his writing. That's worth noting, because in a culture where image often outpaces authenticity, it might be tempting to edit ourselves into something more acceptable. But when we do that long enough, something essential becomes buried, and we might lose touch with our own voice. He, at age 14, became a junior minister in his church, his family's church. But by age 17, he began to feel that the teaching there was just another method for oppressing black people. He rebelled against it. By 18, he left home after a series of intense personal and ideological breaks with his family, especially over religion and sexual identity. He didn't feel accepted for who he was becoming, so he had to go. He had to go the way his blood beat. He was calm. He was precise. He was clear. He was powerful. He was uncompromising. And he spoke and wrote because he couldn't stay silent. And when he did speak and write, his voice made space for others to find their own. And the world is a better place because he did. And he stands as a reminder for me that every time you and I speak up, show up, stand up with calm, kind-hearted clarity, we are practicing the art of spiritual self-expression. And it's important because self-expression is how the world learns who we are, really. It's how the world learns what moves us, what matters to us, and what we value. So this week, rather than ask yourself, how can I fit in? Ask instead, what light am I here to shine? Because the world doesn't need another echo. It needs the clear, unrepeatable note that only you can sing. So today, I believe I spoke about three things. Number one, you are a unique expression of the creative power of life. Number two, pressure from inside or from outside can get in the way of you expressing that, so pay attention. Because number three, without your self-expression, the world is a poorer place. Now, the affirmations I used today, I have available on a handout. And on the other side of the handout is a spiritual mind treatment that incorporates them so that you can use them this week as you move through the world for your practice. So come and see me. I'll be next to the statue of Saraswati, and I'll hand them out to you. So I invite you to breathe in now and exhale into a moment of prayer. There is one infinite presence, one creative power of life, expressing itself in endless diverse ways. This life is everywhere present and through everything. It is the source of all being and the essence of everything that is. I am an inseparable part of this creative power. The life that breathes me is the life of the infinite. It knows itself as me, here and now. I live and I move and I have my being in this creative power. I am of it, in it, as it. As I realize this about my entire being, I am filled with a radiant awareness that the expression of myself is the expression of the creative power of life. And so I tune into that power and let my presence bring flavor and light to the world in a unique way. I tune into the self within and allow it to guide my expression. I step out into the world with ease and confidence, realizing I truly do enjoy being seen for who I am, but most importantly, I enjoy being who I am because that's who I am. I give thanks for this clarity and for the truth that flows through me and through all life. And I give thanks for the quiet strength and the ever-unfolding wholeness of being that is in me. I release this word into the action of the creative law, knowing it is already complete in the mind of the Creator, and I let it be. I let it unfold, and I follow it. And I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. Followed by a breath in, and a sigh. As we make the transition to the part of our service where we support our center through contributions financially. I invite the ushers to stand as you prepare your gift. And perhaps you'll place your hand on your chest as a symbol of your heart connection to your center and say after me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and prosper. It does amazing work in the world. And so it is. Ushers, please receive the gift.
Beloved community, we gather in unity. All are welcome here, all are blessed and a blessing to be. Beloved community, where we discover divinity, uncovering who we are in our beloved community. Doesn't matter where you've come from, doesn't matter what you've undone, all that matters is you're here now. So keep an open heart, let Spirit work it out. Beloved community, we gather in unity. All are welcome here, all are blessed and a blessing to be. Beloved community, where we discover divinity, uncovering who we are in our beloved community. Doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what you've undone, all that matters is you're here now. So keep an open heart, let Spirit work it out. Spirit, work it out. Beloved community, we gather in unity. All are welcome here. All are blessed and a blessing to be. Oh, beloved community, where we discover divinity, uncovering who we are in our beloved community. Uncovering who we are in our beloved community. Uncovering who we are in our beloved community.
Thank you again for all the gifts that you share with us. And thanks again to our band for sharing their gifts with us. Your life is shaped by the pictures in your mind? Well, what if that were true? How can you work with your mind so that you might shape a different life? In mental equivalence, Reverend Scioto will guide us through the powerful connection between thought and experience. Because every pattern, every possibility begins as a mental image. And this class is all about learning to shape those images with clarity and intention. So you'll explore how to define what you want, then focus your attention upon it and align your consciousness with it using our science of mind principles. So if you're ready to move past outdated beliefs and start creating a more fulfilling life, then this is your next step. And we do have scholarships available for this class. Now, there was a time in my life when my anxious mind felt like it had a will of its own. If I'm honest, that still happens to me. Now, over the years, though, I've gathered spiritual tools and practical strategies that can help me to quiet that inner storm, especially when things feel overwhelming. So, in my upcoming workshop, Calming Your Anxious Mind, we're going to explore the inner workings of that anxious mind with curiosity and compassion. And together we'll learn how we can gently bring calm to the parts of ourselves that are feeling unsettled. And you'll also be introduced to some body-based techniques that can support your nervous system and powerful practices that can help you to reset when life throws the unexpected your way. So chat with me after service if you want some more info on those classes and to register. Our center is hosting a screening on Sunday, June 8 at 2 p.m. of a film called Roots in My Garden. And this is a story by our very own Joe Lauer. And this timely short drama tells the true-to-life story of a mother who lost her child due to anti-LGBTQ laws in the 1990s. At the time, lesbian couples faced heartbreaking legal barriers, and non-biological mothers were often not recognized as parents, leaving families vulnerable to separation and loss. So following the screening, you can stay for a question and answer to explore the real-world impact of these policies and the ongoing drive for family equality. And you can find details and tickets available for that on our website. All right, attention. Okay, do I have your attention? Okay, great. Teens are wanted here. We want teens here, and we're building space for them, just for them. We've got Sunday meetups and service opportunities and real conversations. So if you know a teen who's ready to step into their strength, invite them to connect with us. And you can learn more from our Youth and Family Director, Jennifer Caldwell. She's waving her arms over there in the room. You can also send an email to youth@cslsr.org. Here's a question for you. Why would we do just one Pride event when we can do two? Well, that's a question that we asked ourselves this year when we were planning for Pride. And so our first event is right here in Santa Rosa's Courthouse Square this coming Saturday, May 31st. And then in June, we have another Pride event. We're expanding to the Windsor Pride that is happening on Saturday, June 21st. So come and share your support with us. We even have a raffle with some fun gifts from our bookstore that you can enter. And speaking of June, our Juneteenth summer solstice potluck, boy, that's a mouthful. That's coming right up. Mark your calendar for a meaningful event of community and celebration on Wednesday, June 18th. And we're going to gather to honor freedom and resilience and light with food and inspirational community. And our trustees, Lawrence Edwards and Olivia Kinsler, are going to speak on the significance of Juneteenth and why it's a holiday that speaks to all. Sign up to bring your favorite dish at our info desk or online through our website, and we look forward to seeing you there. And here's a date that you'll want to save. Sunday, June 29th. We're going to do it again, our special all-community service. We're going to combine our 9 a.m., this service, with our 11 a.m. gatherings into one celebration that happens at 10 a.m. So don't come at 9 a.m. and don't come at 11 a.m. because you'll either be really early or you'll be really late. And best part, the music is by Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, and our center choir. And after the service, you can stick around and share some breakfast snacks, coffee, and spend some time connecting with all of your friends. So remember, June 29th, one service, only at what time? Yes, tell everyone. Many of you have met Krista McAtee from her workshops and classes, and today she's here with us serving as the ambassador for the Conference of the Americas, which is the bilingual Science of Mind conference that takes place in Chapala, Mexico. So talk to her today about an amazing experience to connect with people of our tradition from all over the Spanish-speaking world. And interpretation is provided in both languages throughout. All right, one last thing before I close. I invite you to join me at our upcoming Wednesday evening service. We're going to dive into some of the things that Dr. Edward talked about today, how we can be real and how we can move through challenges while still being open. So I look forward to seeing you there. We've been having a lot of fun. All right, have a great week, and thanks for being part of our community.
Thank you very much, Reverend Russ, and thank you for being here today. If there is something that is incomplete in you, or if you've got something in your life that you'd like spiritual support for, please don't go home without taking advantage of the support system right here in person in the sanctuary, or if you're online, go to our website and you can do the same thing through a private Zoom room. I'm talking about affirmative prayer that is available to you for whatever that is going on in your life that you'd like support for directly after the service, okay? With that in mind, won't you please stand as you are able, saying something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind, life is in my body, and life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it, just the way that it is. And just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. Know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to look within at any moment to know that you're guided, sustained, and empowered by a presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly so that in everything that we do and say and think, we honor this presence within. And so it is. Thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you soon. Let's close in song.
I am a prayer for peace. Wherever I go, peace goes with me. I feel this is